What's up, YouTube? Little vlog about beer. Shade Tree Surgeon did a blog last week about going to a local craft brewery, and so talked a little bit about AB. Being from St. Louis, beer's kind of always been in my life. You know, Anheuser-Busch helped build St. Louis. I don't like Busch products, but you know, the company itself is pretty cool. They pay their employees very well and treat them very well, although now they're owned by a foreign company. This is just a little response video to Shade Tree. If you don't follow Shade Tree Surgeon on YouTube, look him up. Dude's hilarious. You know, he's always got some straight up, legitimate point of view on life, and he's gonna let you know how he feels, whether it's what you want to hear or not. But anyway, so you know, he talked a little bit about AB, and we talked a little bit about microbreweries. In the past 5 years, craft beer and microbreweries have popped up everywhere in St. Louis. And St. Louis has beer history going back 200 years. I'm gonna roll by with the old Lemp Brewery. Lemp was a company that was started by William Lemp back in 1820. He moved over here 3 years before that, and he moved to St. Louis 3 years before opening his brewery, and he was going to make his fortune being a grocer. Well, he also bottled lager on the side, so he realized that about the only thing selling in his store were his homemade beer. So he took his money, sold his old grocery store, and started a small brewing company. And that small brewing company did quite well, and it did well while he was around, and then his son William Lemp Jr. took over, and he took the business to another level. As soon as he graduated from St. Louis University, he became vice president of what used to be, at the time it was like West something Brewing Company. And after his dad passed, he named it William Lemp Brewing Company in like 1840, something like that. But midway through the 1800s, Lemp was one of the largest beer distribution brewers in the Midwest, possibly in the U.S. And so he had bought a piece of land in the south side of St. Louis that was, I think it's like 13 acres or something like that, a 13-acre plot just south of downtown. And this allowed him to brew his beer in a fantastic facility. And a little thing about these facilities is this brewery in the Lemp Mansion where the family lived was on top of some caverns, and caverns are a brewery's best friend, because you can let the beer sit in the naturally cool caverns without having to do it with any refrigeration or anything like that. And so he was able to do all this, you know, have massive amounts of beer chilling in these natural caverns, which are still here in St. Louis today, but most of them have become flooded. Yeah, so one of my favorite sayings about St. Louis is a beer town with a baseball problem. If you know anything about St. Louis and and their baseball fans, I'm not a big baseball fan. Yeah, it's nice to brag about the baseball every now and then, but I really like our heritage and our beer. So yeah, what we'll end up hitting first is the old Anheuser-Busch brewery, which is still their corporate headquarters to an extent. They were bought back in, I want to say 2009, by InBev, a European company, if I can speak. They were bought by InBev, and so you know, it's still Budweiser, it's still Anheuser-Busch, but It's not as centered in St. Louis as it used to be. There's still their main brewery and stuff, but most of the stuff that you see distributed isn't brewed in St. Louis. I see a lot of it brewed out of Wisconsin and a lot of the northern Midwest. It's kind of cool. Yeah, as you can see, this is all kind of touristy. Where it all used to happen back in the day. You actually take tours of the brewery and everything now. This is the old AB area. Like I said, they still employ a ton of people here in St. Louis, and they treat their employees very well and pay them very well. I can't knock the company, but I will say their beer sucks. It's a decent go-to if you're already drunk or somebody else paid for it, but not something I would pay for. Coming up on the old Lemp Brewery, you can probably see it on the left up there. But yeah, so Lemp was around until Prohibition, when they sold to the Griesedick Company, which turned it from an alcohol distillery into like a regular kind of soda manufacturing plant. And after that, Lemp never came back. Now, I have a friend who is a descendant of the actual Lemp family. And now the Lemps were also good friends with the Paps, as in Pabst Blue Ribbon. And those families intermarried. So this brewery is actually still linked to PBR. So it's not completely out of the beer game. So that's all the Lemp Brewery stuff. Like, that used to be all one brewery back in the day. This and that, all this 13-acre triangle right here. But it's kind of historic St. Louis landmark. Unfortunately, kind of going to waste. There is one of the Lemp Mansion. They used to, they lived there and worked there.
I think I read something online about it.
Yeah, this is the Lemp Mansion. This was built in 50.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then one of the, and then that's the other part of the Lemp Mansion.
Is it about that 3 people that, like, oh, that's like the ghost house or whatever?
Yeah, and actually at Halloween, they open those up as haunted houses. And there are caves all underneath there.
Yeah, that's the house though, because I read online that, like,
Yeah, that was,
now there's a restaurant, it's like their house actually.
yeah, that was their house, and then The other side was the guest house. That was all their property.
Oh, nice.
This is more Anheuser-Busch. I never noticed the Eagles.
Well,
That's awesome. I forgot to pay attention. So, that's some old school St. Louis beer history. Let's get some modern beer history going. So, we've got, gosh, I don't even know how many local microbrews that are doing very well for themselves and distributing it at even large chain restaurants like Buffalo Wild Wings and stuff like that. They're doing very well. Urban Chestnut, very small brewery down on the, I want to say it's in the south side of the city, down here, doing quite well for themselves, selling in the local grocery stores, as well as you can get that at, I think, Hooters and Buffalo Wild Wings and a couple of the other sports bar places. So yeah, we're on our way back to get some food at the Schlafly Tap Room, right off Market on Locust, downtown St. Louis. I'd much rather go here and have lunch than go to some $100 freaking restaurant as a date, and I think my girlfriend agrees with that. We actually did that the other day, and after eating I was like, man, that wasn't that good. Everybody told me it was expensive, but shit, I was expecting about $40 less than that. Yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to do a bunch of vlogs on St. Louis history. And it's a shame that M5 that you know, as rich of a history as we have here in St. Louis, that we just let it go to waste. I mean, it's just completely. We're getting better about it, but we have very much a tear it down and get another one mentality about things. Why do they give them the signal to walk when we have the signal to go? It's fucking retarded. Get one more.